Our primary voters in New York calling for a big turnout today. What candidate hopes it will be her ticket to getting her opponent to tap out? More on where the presidential candidates stand today, just ahead. Plus, another arrest. Who else police say helped two escaped prisoners while they were on the run? Also this.
It's a shotgun wedding. It's going to happen.
Controversial cartoon. How city councilors and business owners are responding to this drawing taking aim at the ART project. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Krista Gutierrez.
And I'm Kristen Curry. Today is Tuesday, April 19th.
We'll get to those stories in just a bit. But first, of course, we are talking weather because we've seen a whole lot of rain, even snow, but we're getting a little break finally.
We are almost done with that strong weekend storm that dropped a good amount of rain and snow across northern portions of the state. I wanted to begin with the Doppler radar. We're still tracking some of these showers off to our east. It's not much, but if I zoom this down, you're certainly going to see a pocket or two of some light rain and even some fog kind of plaguing the eastern plains this morning. So this will be our focus to start today. Here in the metro, we got nothing out there except a clear sky and temps in the 30s. You will find some 20s though up in Farmington as well as Grants, 30 in Taos, with more of those 30s and 40s as you get into the southern portions of the state. So certainly a jacket needed to start. Later today we'll get back to the 60s. Mix of sun and clouds as we get into this afternoon as well. Rain chances just don't look great here in the metro, so you can pretty much leave that umbrella at home. But for those up to the north and northeast and even east central New Mexico, I'm going to include you guys in on some of those spot showers that we have in the forecast today. We take a break through midweek and get ready for the possibility of another weekend storm. So I'll break down everything you need to know, including today's temperatures as well as details on today's rain chances coming up here in about 15 minutes.
Thanks so much, Kristen. Albuquerque City councilors are speaking out today as a controversial cartoon runs front and center on a local paper. Here's what the front page of every ABQ Free Press newspaper features right now. The cartoon shows Mayor Richard Berry holding a shotgun in the middle of Central while city councilors tear it up for the Albuquerque Rapid Transit System. Many businesses along Central fear construction of the ART project will put them out of business. Now, while some opposed to the project say the cartoon's funny, Councilor Ken Sanchez disagrees.
You've got the mayor with a gun. It says art under construction. It looks like we're trying to hold people hostage. That is not the case at all. We are trying to create jobs in our community.
The artist behind the cartoon and the newspaper's editor did not want to comment on the cover. The Albuquerque City Council already voted 7-2 to authorize $69 million in federal funding to help pay for the $119 million Albuquerque Rapid Transit System. No contract details just yet this morning on City Council's latest pick for Albuquerque's new auditor. Last night, councilors voted to hire David Harper as the city's first inspector general in 3 years. That office investigates internal fraud, waste, and corruption in Albuquerque city government.
I will meet with peers. We will look for ways to be more efficient in doing the job. We expect that of all city departments, and it needs to start with a city IG.
Harper will move from New Hampshire, where he led the Air Force's Economic Crimes Investigation Unit for the last 8 years. He says Albuquerque piqued his interest years ago after he did an investigation at Kirtland Air Force Base. The last inspector general quit, saying the city kept him from doing his job. Also moving forward this morning, a 6-month trial for non-service animals on city buses. The council approved that last night as well. Starting in July, riders will be allowed 1 dog or cat to ride with them during off-peak hours. The resolution requires cats be in a crate. Dogs have to be in a crate or muzzled and leashed. On to other news happening today. Commissioners in western New Mexico are expected to meet to talk about building a new jail. The Curry County Jail has been plagued with escapes, a revolving door of jail directors, and lack of funding. According to the Clovis News Journal, Roosevelt and Curry County are now talking about building a new facility that could serve both counties. Combining the two jails would present a huge cost savings. On to this developing story this morning. Finance officials at APS say they're looking for solutions to fix the school district's struggling budget. A district spokesperson says the board's finance committee is reviewing 46 departments to find places to save money. APS says it's facing a nearly $10 million budget shortfall. This is all due to less money from the struggling state. They say they are looking to cut a handful of positions at central office and say most of those will be taken care of through attrition. Happening today, voters in New York will start heading to the polls this morning to decide who should be their party's presidential nominee.
Let us all do everything we can to make sure that New York State has the largest turnout in a Democratic primary in its history.
That's Democratic candidate Bernie Sanders. On the other end of this, the Republican frontrunner Donald Trump is looking to beat out Ted Cruz and John Kasich in the state and avoid a contested convention in July. Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton is hoping a win in New York will lead to increased calls for Bernie Sanders to drop out of the race. On to news happening today. People in Baltimore plan to hold rallies and vigils to mark 1 year since the death of Freddie Gray. The 25-year-old died from injuries he suffered while being transported in a police van last April. The driver of that van was among the 6 officers charged in connection to Gray's death. He is expected to go on trial come June. An update to the jet fuel spill at Kirtland Air Force Base is expected today. Reps from the Air Force and the state's Environment Department are set to hold a meeting to brief locals on the latest cleanup efforts. Millions of gallons of contaminated water and thousands of tons of fuel-soaked soil have already been removed. The meeting is set for tonight from 6 to 8:30 at the African American Performing Arts Center. If you get there early, you can speak with experts and project leaders. The fallout from last month's prison escape in Artesia continues this morning. A 6th person is now facing charges. Just last month, Lionel Claw and Joseph Cruz escaped from a prison transport van, sparking a statewide manhunt. Both were caught days later in Albuquerque. You might remember that. Cruz's aunt, 45-year-old Feliz Mayes, is now charged with harboring or aiding a felon, as well as assisting an escape. She was arrested on Sunday. According to the criminal complaint, Claw called her for a ride 3 days after the escape. Claw and Cruz allegedly paid her $100 to drop them off at Cruz's sister's apartment. The San Juan County Sheriff's Department is working to raise money for an employee whose daughter was the recent victim in a murder-suicide. Police in Florida say 31-year-old Sharika Brown, the daughter of the Sheriff's Department longtime mechanic, was killed Sunday night along with her 2 children. Brown was attacked by her estranged husband at a restaurant. Her husband left but returned in his vehicle and ran her over, as well as 2 medics who were trying to help her. Brown died at the hospital. Brown's husband later killed their 2 kids and himself that night. There's a GoFundMe account set up to help with the Browns and the funeral expenses for the family members. We posted a link on our KRQE News app if you would like to help out. Solar Farm will not be heading to a Farmington hospital after officials voted no. San Juan County Regional Medical Center wanted to install more than 6,000 solar panels on 12 acres there. The Farmington Daily Times reports the council voted 3-1 against it, surprising the hospital. Not only have they already purchased the solar panels, the Zoning Commission recommended the county approve the plan, which would require a zoning change. But there's been opposition with concern that it's not the best use of that land. Hospital officials can still appeal.